Okay, taking a crack at a bit of a brew here up next. We're playing some Temur Aggro. For those not familiar or newer to Magic, Temur refers to this color combination here in front of you of red, blue, and green. One of a card that will draw some eyes here at the bottom of our curve is Moss Viper. This is a 1/1 Death Touch for 1, kind of vanilla. This card is reasonable, though, with Royal Scions because First Strike and Death Touch combines well. It's also reasonable with Embercleave for that same reason. Can attack through anything, basically. The way Death Touch and First Strike and Trample works is, if they don't have First Strike, you hit first and your Death Touch kills them, and you only have to assign 1 point of damage to each thing blocking, so the rest of your damage gets to trample over. Similar to why Questing Beast is good with Royal Scions and Embercleave. Another thing that's kind of useful is that Domri's -2, along with this Death Touch applies to fighting. So Moss Viper plus Domri's downtick can let you kill any large creature, which Temur decks like this often struggle to deal with larger threats that things like Bonecrusher Giant can't kill. So let's go ahead and hop on into a couple of ladder matches with this and see how we feel about it after a couple of them. Anyone can feel free to donate $2 or more for a foil snake. I don't just buy foils that are not going to get used a whole lot, most likely. So it's $2 for this foil that we'll probably never use on stream again. If somebody else would like to incinerate their $2, they're welcome to. I'm gonna keep my $2. Thanks for the biddies, Bacon. Foil the snake. We'll do after this match. Looky there. Foil snakes. Yeah, 200 gems is $1. See that, chat? And now we've made a profit off of foiling the snake. We call that capitalism. Capitalism. Okay for children's card games and streaming them on the internet. Not okay for keeping people alive. Okay curve here, and their curve is slow. Our snake here is just like attacking for... Gosh! I've been on this video, talking about this deck for the last 3 minutes now. And we've been talking about the snake, and I haven't made a single Elizabeth Warren reference. I feel like I've let you down, chat. I feel like I failed in my job of pairing political commentary with Magic the Gathering. So both of these die. They get some tokens, then we hit them for 2. The 4-color deck was sweet yesterday. It's one of the more amusing decks that's on the website for sure. Yeah, I think my opponent maybe didn't quite realize how First Strike and Death Touch was going to work there, which worked out really well for us. Again, just, it's always nice, like, when your deck gets to do the thing right away, right? Like, we talked about this card being reasonable with First Strike and Death Touch, then it showed up and showed us why right away. Which is nice. It did not, Vernash. The only main difference is we ended up on 4 Night of Autumn by the end. Related to Adam and Eve in the garden. I mean, Eve wasn't. I grew up Catholic. I've never heard a reference to Eve being called a snake. Like, went to church every week for a very long time. Yeah, but you have a source on that like that's a thing that's like exists. I believe you. It's just like that's not something I've ever heard as someone that grew up around a lot of religious people. It's not, I'm pretty sure that's, I mean, maybe it's very regional, but I've never, in the Midwest, I've never heard that. And again, grew up around a lot of religious people. Yes. Yeah, the devil took the form of the snake according to the story in the Bible. Warren is withholding her endorsement, which in my opinion and the opinions of many people is her implicitly endorsing Biden. Which is a man that she has claimed is fundamentally represents all of the things that are wrong with politics in Washington. We had a rant about this earlier during the the Pioneer deck towards the end, but in my opinion, Warren's lack of willingness to back the winning progressive candidate, again, in my opinion, shows that she didn't really care about the progressive values she claimed to care about, and she was instead just in it for President Warren, not any of the values she talked about. Thanks for the tip, 5-color bad stuff. The progressive values are bigger than Bernie. They're bigger than any one particular thing. For another foil snake. Sounds good, 5-color. I appreciate it. All right, a quick control F in there doesn't say anything. I don't know. Fat Boy Wealthy, thanks for the 2 months. Welcome back. I appreciate it. I can say it, and people that are diehard Warren fans are fine to not believe me, but I would be ridiculing Bernie Sanders here as well if Warren was the progressive, is still in the race, and he hadn't endorsed her. And I can't say anything to convince people that that is what I would do and what I believe. Like, I gave money to Warren long before I gave money to Bernie. I don't like the adventure borders. I think they look bad. I think they look not uniform. Let's get a foil snake. Yeah, I've definitely heard men called snakes on more than one occasion. A snake is used as a descriptor for someone deceptive. The biblical connotation, and that comes from the biblical connotation, is because the devil chose to represent himself as a snake to deceive. Yeah, so like, again, that's another thing that I hate as someone who's like fought for equality and stood up for a lot of a lot of things whenever I can to like try and fight for other people, that like as soon as I'm critical of Warren, I've been labeled a sexist by a lot of people just because they don't want to actually engage with the points or think critically about them. It's easier to just write off anyone that disagrees with them as a sexist. They'd rather shut down the conversation by crying sexism rather than discussing what the actual point is at hand. Bunch of Bonecrusher should be good here against the mono red deck. Run off some lands here, we could be okay. Need to draw a third land, draw running 6 drops. Feels Magic Man. I just want a progressive nominee for president. I don't care who they are, what they look like, what gender they are, and anybody who claims to be progressive that is not backing Bernie Sanders at this point is a liar and a hypocrite in my opinion. Feel free to disagree, but that's where I stand, and Warren currently falls into that camp. Well, we're going to keep taking hits on the nose from this Camel team. So, Death Touch is explicitly good with First Strike, which Embercleave essentially provides First Strike. And Royal Scions also provide First Strike and Trample. So if you go back and watch the very first game of the first match that we played, you'll see it team up really well. I should have done this on my turn, right? If this is an instant I'm about to get blown out. Yeah, I messed up. Yeah, dead. I think we're probably dead regardless, but definitely more dead because I messed up. Thanks for the 43 months, Griffin Bruce. Welcome back. Alright, Lava Coils and Flame Sweeps. Brazen Borrower's pretty bad. Giant seems fine. I think I want to trim at least one sword, so we'll be playing a little bit more defense here. Probably trim Royal Scions for that same reason. Easy mulligan. Not exciting, but a keep. Think I'm bottoming that. I just want more cards to play to the board here. Moss Viper, notably a bit awkward against their first Strike Knight, although Bonecrusher Giant will kill that if that's what they have. If you're looking for the link to submit a deck, you can find that here. I'm just killing the Seamkin and attacking them for one. Like, I can't block their first striker anyways, and they don't really play haste creatures that I can block. Like, they're only real haste creatures like Javier. Okay, promptly punished. Got it. Got it, good. I don't understand your question, Rook. Viper does look pretty good in Borderless. Pretty clean. I mean, the answer to will Jeff play X deck should always be answered by submitting the form. Unless you're sending a lot of money, in which case just go ahead and ship it over. We'll work it out. Truth and capitalism here, chat. Truth and capitalism. And this keeps haste past the turn, right? Yeah, so it can block 10 Street Dodger. Why does this card... You missed me losing my mind at the start of this video that Moss Viper has a borderless option, but Disdainful Stroke and a Boreal Grazer don't. And other notable constructed staples don't. Wait. Oh, I'm good. You're totally... I was like, why can't I block this? You are super right. I was confusing it with Gingerbrute. Yep. Yep. Thanks for the tip, 5-color bad stuff. This is a tip because your owl avatar reminded me of Owling Mind Saga, and I really enjoy those videos on YouTube. Thanks, I appreciate the support. Whenever Jeff said his friend Ben could get him to do something, I thought he was talking about an actual person. Euphemisms. Okay. Am I dead here? I might be, right? Am I exactly dead because of my attacks? Yeah. I think I was right to be as aggressive as I was. I think I needed to try and close the game before they could peel out of it. Thanks for the 2/3 of a year float, mana. Welcome back. Water went down the wrong way. Hey, the read ticker went up. Thanks to whoever checked that out. We're gonna end the stream with a little bit of that today. I mean, I killed a Runaway Steamkin. So, like, Runaway Steamkin represents a lot of damage, too. It also represents a creature that gets big enough to block my other things. The actual mistake I made was giving my thing haste instead of making it a 4/4. Because I thought giving it haste meant it could block. That was the actual mistake. Lava Coiling the 2/1. I mean, that ends up being exactly the same, right? Oh, it attacks for 3. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It effectively hits for 3 instead of 2. Sure. It's a good call. How much of a time investment is Raid? Well, like every video game these days, the answer is as much as you want it to be. Parts of it if you're playing it a lot are also like, it's like part idle game. So there's parts that you grind that like, you have a do auto battles for to progress through certain areas. And then there's other parts that you're actively engaged in, so it's a mix. I think I just play Domri here, right? It's like Domri plus, because Domri means I can still cast Questing Beast next turn. Only I have a Planeswalker in play now. I have no idea, Marty. I also added a go vote command that works too. Get out the vote. Oh, sure. I actually wasn't familiar with that acronym. Yikes. Well, at least they don't have an oven to eat my snake after, I guess. Glass half full. The video game's so advanced it plays itself. It's just like anybody who played like Pokemon or Diablo growing up, like there were parts of like Diablo 2 if you were playing seriously where like you just sat there and killed the same boss 100 times. And like there's parts of Raid that are similar to that where you farm gear. Hey, I'm glad you're enjoying it, I concede. I agree. It's been my go-to time waster game for the last 2 months now. Those Mephisto runs. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the same genre of game as Summoner's War, Garam. Don't need a land past 5. Hopefully Questerson can run them down here. I'm going to attack with the snake, too. If they want to trade here, they can, I think. The U.S., or Illinois specifically, updated to daylight savings over the weekend. In Diablo, you cheated. Couldn't do that. Couldn't do that online. Yeah, I believe everywhere in the U.S. that does ticked over this past weekend. Yeah, hopefully we see more places get rid of it. Would be ideal. The fact that Questerson doesn't get blocked by cats is so great. Utah has a law that works to get rid of DST, but if only if 4 other states near us do it. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Everything went so horribly wrong, chat. Everything went so horribly wrong. Night Stars, thanks for the 24 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Kind of underwhelming. Hey, thanks to whoever checked out the raid link. Well, I mean, like, can Questerson hold the fort all on its own? Probably not. Like, they get to double block it here and then draw 2 cards and then escape the Woe Strider next turn. Doesn't seem like it bodes well for our hero. Why get rid of daylight savings time? Because the reason that it was once added, I believe, was due to wartime related reasons, which are not applicable anymore. And if you look at the statistics, there's a lot of accidents. Yeah, people losing sleep increases traffic incidents the Monday following, generally speaking. So there's real downsides and minimal upsides. Oh, yeah, John Oliver had a segment at one point. It's a good call. John Oliver's great. God bless immigration. John Oliver's great. All right, so we're dead. I mean, I have 2 small children, so, like, I never sleep. So, like, I don't know that I'm strictly impacted by it, but, you know. We don't really have good sideboard cards here. Both Borrower and Wasp Viper suck pretty hard against Mayhem Devil. We don't really have a ton of good ways to take Mayhem Devil off the table. Heart attacks increase when our sleep is shorter. I mean, is the better timing all that useful? Like, we kind of live in a 24-hour society for the most part anyways. It was to conserve energy. Yeah, that's it. Conserve energy. Hey, thanks to whoever checked out the raid link. Like I said, if you give the game a go and enjoy it, there's 4 or 5. I think there's 5 raid clans that are Hoaglandia related. There's a bunch of us that talk about in the subs Discord and are playing. I think this is fine. Needs another land, but we've got like a scry to find it. We've got Paradise Druid to get us set up a little bit. Well, I mean, beggars won't be choosers, I suppose. That's perfect. Let's just, actually, let's play Tectonic Giant here so we can start trying to draw some cards with this. I concede. I'm going to do it after, I plan to start about 2 o'clock, I think. 2-ish. Reference, thanks for the 5 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. And they killed it, and I still get to go ahead and draw a card. Hey, Questerson. I think I'd take Questerson rather than the Brazen Borrower here, just because, like, they need to kill these questing beasts or it's going to kill them. So I think having plenty of them is good. Don't need a 6th land. Crunch with this. Kodiak Cakes. I don't think I've heard of that one. Poor little Paradise Druid. All right, down to 10. I wonder if they have like a Bonecrusher Giant or something here to finish this off. Questing Beast is legendary. That's one of his many pieces of text. Vomit. That's really good. Hey, we're just super dead. Like, they have these, they're gonna get to bring this back next turn. Might fit in a third standard deck today. I will be right back. My garage door is messing up on my wife again, so I need to run up and manually close it, because the closer's not working for her. I'm not making her get out of the car while she's pregnant to manually close it, so back in just a minute. Sorry about that. At first, I thought it was the temperature, because it was only happening when it was cold. Then I thought maybe it was condensation on the thing, so I started wiping them off, and then that didn't work. And then it happened on, like, a 50-degree warm day when there was no humidity. And I was just like, all right, so they're just messed up. Need to get someone out to change them. Three years is a long time. Thanks for keeping me around, Rolk. Hope you're having a good one wherever you are. No, it's not the remote, Llama. Because the button on the wall also doesn't work for it. The light sits there, and you push the button on either the remote or the wall, and the light sits there and blinks on it. It doesn't go down, despite the fact it's not obstructed. Realigning them doesn't seem to do anything. I've sat there and pushed them and try and line them up, and it doesn't work. I don't know, something's just foobar with it. We actually had the spring on the door replaced because it snapped. The old one snapped in half earlier or late last year. Thanks for the 10 months, Ken. I appreciate it. Welcome back. That's 100% what the problem is. There's something wrong with the sensors. Replacing the motor itself might be an issue. I don't know. I'll probably just look and see what it costs to replace the whole unit and get that make that happen. I assume the one that's up there is original to my house, and the house is a little over a decade old. So it's probably pushing it in terms of... Let's bounce her, and then let's plus this and stomp their face. What happens at 250 raid downloads this time? If we somehow hit the goal again, I don't know, we'll do something crazy. We'll see. We hit like we ended up hitting close to 300 last time, which I think is why they asked me to do another. We'll see. I think we'll probably get like 50 or 60 today, or over the course of the week. We'll see. When's the dying happening? I don't know. So, if I'm being honest, I think... Actually, I'm not even going to say I think. The dying is not happening until all the COVID stuff is done. Christy and I are intentionally going out of our way to avoid going to groups of places that aren't normally places where we go to. I think it's irresponsible between my two small kids and Christy being pregnant, so... The beard dying is just not happening. I'm not putting myself into a place where lots of people... transverse to and sit in for long times and are easily able to be sick there. It could take months. Yeah, I know. Celloform, thanks for the 2 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. So, I'm a man of my word. It's going to happen at some point, but until this whole thing dies down, it's irresponsible to go to places that are unnecessary. Yeah, correct. Yeah, there's Christy, women who are pregnant tend to be in a higher risk class for things like that. What are we doing? So they're like a ramp deck. Disdainful Stroke's probably good. I don't even know if I want Lava Coil, honestly. No, the motor doesn't make any noise. It just sits there and blinks. Like it looks like it's responding like when it does what it does when there's an obstruction in the way of the sensors. Our ugly Disdainful Strokes that are not borderless, despite this Moss Viper being borderless. It's a real shame. Let's do that. Hey, take the money back for the sick kid. Something like that. That's true, Bob. It's funny. One of the, you know, to look at a ray of sunshine in other things, Christy and I were talking about, I was like, well, when people do start staying in more, my viewer numbers might go up in the short term. Not that viewer numbers really matter that much, but, you know, something small upside. Silver lining. Yeah, exactly. It's a fun one, Speaker. They give you a ton of energy to start so you can play a ton. Once you get past your initial energy burst and you're like spending your energy down to 0 each day, it's really easy to just like play in small bursts. I like play for half hour, 45 minutes, an hour or so after I sign off for the day usually. And then a little bit when I wake up in the morning. Well, no, you're super important, Terror. The thing that does actually matter is my sub count. Like, if my viewer count was suddenly like half of what it is now, I would still be here as a job as long as my sub count is what it is. And that's honestly the weirdest thing about this job, and not complaining about it at all, but the viewer count fluctuating month to month doesn't always translate proportionally to sub count changing, which is nice because subs actually pay my bills. I believe it's a mix of unique IPs and unique devices, Wellborn. I don't know though. You should play the Wizard. The Wizard's the best starter. The Archer and the other one, the Archer and the Paladin are also fine though. I think I'm bottoming that. Do I need to draw lands? Do I think I need more than 4 mana with the Domri? I'm not sure that I do. Yeah, I'm gonna top that actually. It depends on what you want to do with them, Wolfie. So like one of the things that's neat about Raid and that it's a team building game is that different champions are good in different areas. So like the Wizard's the best in like the clan boss, for example. Does that mean you put more weight into sub-survey than... Yes, that is exactly correct, Blades. Because in fact, Historic overall tends to have a little bit worse viewer numbers and YouTube rewatch numbers than Standard, but I still tend to amp up how much Historic we're doing. Because 1, that could change, but also 2, the sub survey said that subs are really interested in Historic. All right, I think I'm gonna do this, and then do this, and then plus it, play Bonecrusher Giant. They're only 1 card away from escaping Uro, so if I can avoid them adding a card to their bin and escaping Uro this turn, it would be ideal.
That's more like it.
Feels dead, man. I can, like, kill Teferi here, but, like, then Uro's coming back, and, like, Conqueror's Death is ticking down. Feeling pretty thoroughly outclassed. I feel like I'm going to sound like a little bit of a broken record today talking about issues with decks, but, again, similar to, like, the issue we had in Pioneer and then Historic as well, it feels like this deck's just a little bit too caught in the middle. Yeah, like, we're not aggressive enough to get under these decks, and, like, what they do in terms of going over the top of us is just way more powerful. So we kind of, like, occupy this awkward mid-tier spot that just, like, doesn't mean we're good against very much. Again, I feel like this is something kind of trending across all Magic formats in general now. They're really mid-range struggles basically everywhere right now, it feels like to me, and you don't want to get caught in the middle. You want to be on some end of the extreme. You want to go way under or go way over the top. actually don't, I disagree with you, JWS. I actually think that, and this is something that we'll see how it plays out, I actually think that, it's way easier for a mid-range deck to attack Field of the Dead than it is for a mid-range deck to attack Nissa or Hydroid Crisis. I think these Bant kind of value style ramp decks are way harder for mid-range decks to beat up on than Field of the Dead is. With tools like Embercleave and Questing Beast, there's very specific tools that are also generically good that these mid-range decks can play. Yes, I expect Field to bully Teferi decks, which in my opinion is a good thing, because formats where Teferi decks are the best decks in the format tend to suck, in my opinion. I actually don't have a Shillings leaderboard. I believe Beansy said, Beansy, did you cross 400k? Or Kuntz? I think Beansy or Kuntz said they crossed 400k. Little says they're at 428k. Sick. Yeah, and I also think that too, Gengar. I agree with that sentiment. I think another reason why Field is good to reintroduce is because the type of deck it does beat up on gained Dream Trawler as a good tool for still having a chance there. So, like, having there be a Predator to the Dream Trawler decks, but not making the Dream Trawler decks just be dead is very reasonable. It's a good thing overall. Shillings have been going since October. So October, November, December, January, February, March, people at like 400k. So my goal when I set up Shillionaire was to have it be about a year of regular watching for the big prize. So... Alright, they stumbled a little bit, and Questing Beast was able to drag us across the finish line. That's true. For those of you that are hoarding Shillings once every 30 days, so you can't do it constantly, you can cheer any amount of bits or gift at least one sub and get a small amount of bonus Shillings every 30 days for that. So you can't just buy them outright, but you can get a little boost that way. I mean, that's how formats always kind of work, GWS. Like, there are certain decks that are favored against others. In my opinion, rock, paper, scissors formats are fine, so long as they're like 60-40 matchups and not like 80-20 matchups. The extreme to which the rock, paper, scissors happens is the key that you need to balance. Dreadhorde Cleave, they've not war game. Might be right to play an untapped land to hold up Stomp here, but conserving some health total is also appealing. I mean, if you're looking for the pay-to-win channel currency, you get a crown at 100k bits on the channel. That's the crown. The crowns, the bit badges are the pay-to-win currency. Yeah, definitely wargame. Many training sessions.
You will not block our noble path.
Our noble path. The snake is here. 100k bits is 1,000 USD.
The realm.
Divide by 100 is the bit ratio, so 100 bits is $1. Probably, they bounced the Scion as opposed to the Snake because they valued tempoing my mana more than they valued preserving their life total.
I need a hand, Will.
Which, whether or not that's right, probably depends on, like, what exactly their hand looks like. Could be right, could be wrong.
About bravery.
Did someone say pay to win? How about some blue-white? Thanks for your absurd biddies, Bob. I appreciate you. Doesn't love a little blue-white control in the afternoon. I'd be happy to do that as our second standard deck today. They're down to 8 here. Probably... Oh, they're playing Flash? Really? It's like OG Flash? Neat. Let's just stomp this. What exactly is a Q again? Asking the real questions, Bob. How do Qs work?
I think I have made a tactical error.
I have made a tactical error. $473. We were talking about who had the most shillings earlier, Beansy. It's a pretty healthy number. I still stand by Hoaglandia's #1 tourist attraction being whale watching. Maybe I'm supposed to play this out and try and push lethal here. I don't know, just like any counterspell. Makes us sad if we try that line. Alright, so Flash. We cleverly put a bunch of Ceratops in our board. Mystic Dispute sounds reasonable here as well. I probably just want to drag my curve down, huh? Is the goal. Trim some of these more expensive cards. I probably want Lava Coil. They're likely playing Wolves, right? I guess one of the payoffs for being in blue-green. Moss Viper's Death Touch is kind of whatever, but I think I honestly just want every cheap creature I can get. Seems fine. Leaving a couple of Questing Beasts, but it's like not so good here that I want to like gum up on them. Seems pretty good, huh? 1, 2, 3. It's just curvamentary. What could it be? Oh, hey, it says the username on it now. Grant. Thanks for checking out the raid sponsor. We're going to play some of that at the end of today's stream. Pretty neat. think it didn't last time we did it last week. It didn't have the name up there. Wellborn. Thanks for checking them out. Remember, if you enjoy the game, pop it in the subs Discord. Smack them for 2. Oh, they're Sultai. That would explain why they had a bunch of cards in their hand last game, huh? Excuse me? Excuse me? They ate my snake, chat. That's so rude. That's so, my poor snake. It was supposed to be deadly. It was supposed to be a deadly snake, chat. My draft staple got killed by their draft staple. They had the anti-snake technology. It's the snake hard counter. Yeah, essence capture here. Quite sure. Speaking of snakes, Christy and I went hiking over the weekend with Jake's Cub Scout pack, and we like stopped on the trail so she could take a break, and she's like leaning next to a tree, and then like a snake was like right on the ground in front of her. She jumped very high. It's good. It's a good time. What is our opponent's pet? They have a pet trophy. Erebos' Intervention. This is a card that I thought was going to show up more than it has so far. Still seems very reasonable, but...
With my sister by my side, I do not fear the unknown. My answers lie in the cold truth.
Ding. The opponent has a Threnody Singer. Let's make sure this resolves before we shock this in. They could have an Aether Gust here. So can't be countered, but can still be Aether Gusted. Crunch. Hey, Puerto Rico. Thanks for checking out the sponsor. All right, don't mind me. Just slow and steady here. I think we just play the land and pass the turn. Like, there's no reason to be super aggressive. Hey, Chalky, thanks for the 15 months. Welcome back. Yeah, if they have Nightpack Ambusher here, I think we just Brazen Borrower right before blocks. And then this gives us the opportunity to stick Royal Scions this turn as well. So then next turn, the Shifting Ceratops can trample over. Yeah, I think part of the reason why the Erebos card is underwhelming is in large part due to the fact that, like, the red deck in this format is less honest and more combo-y. Oh, you're right. We can't +1 on the Ceratops. That's a good call. Oh, no! Their splash color gave them the technology, chat.
Foolish coward.
To know is to triumph.
Really? Really, Auto Tapper? Really? This is how you wanna? It's what you wanna do? It's what you're thinking? All right, you know, okay. I used to trust you, Auto Tapper. Yep, that relationship has since become very strained. Very, very strained. The auto tapper is rigged. It's rigged against us, chat. It knows if you deserve to win, it tries to mess you up extra hard. So I don't remember who I was that was following, but they tweeted a picture of something from the Magic Arena subreddit where the post talked about what was it? It talked about the matchmaker guaranteeing you never win more than 50% of your matches or something like that. Something very silly. No, I think Yo Man sounds right. Yeah, it's just like, Are you dead, Jet? Rats. People are talking like Bernie can't win the nom anymore because when Bernie's ahead, they talk like he's not that far ahead, and when he's behind, they act like he's out of the race. Because they'd really prefer if he was out of the race. If you want a really good, clean example of media bias, look at how Bernie's win in Nevada was covered versus how Biden's win in South Carolina was covered. They were similar margins of victory. And just compare and contrast how those two were handled differently by different websites. Yes, and Biden was very expected to win in South Carolina. Correct. Yep, so Ceratops gets a trample for one here, and then Bonecrusher finishes them off. You started a fire in Historic and walked away to do things. What'd you suggest? Yeah, don't really need another land, right? I've got Domri as an extra one here. We'll go second tapped land, Viper next turn, and then untapped land, 3 drops. Wow, way to oath my snake, chat. My snake was gonna fight this wall and it was gonna win.
I've lived with animals my entire life. Explains a lot, actually.
Why does Moss Viper have a cosmetic? Because they pick the cards that they give cosmetics to by throwing darts at a wall. Is the only possible conceivable answer to why does that card have a cosmetic.
They can only punish you if they catch you.
Alright, smack you, kill Teferi. Please deck no more lands. We have bottomed a couple here, haven't we? 3? Couple 2-3. I believe in us, chat. We can draw some spells. I think your foils appear in your draft decks, your borderless cards. I think. They do? Okay. At least they got that right. Is a 1/1 Death Touch good and limited? It's playable, good's a stretch. Okay. That was my understanding, but I also don't have a good grip on limited, so like, you know. I mean, like, if no one gets 1991, that's a win for Biden. That's just like how reality works. Bernie has to get 1991 or he's not getting the nomination. Just as someone who's a realist, that's the reality I'm living in. Good golly. I mean, at least we bottomed to land and drew a spell, huh? Got that going for us. Uh, 1991 is the number of delegates you need to win the Democratic nomination outright. Don't mind me. Hey, Destruction. Thanks for checking out the sponsor. We'll be wrapping up today with some raid. Correct, Bob. Correct. There's a poll that came across my Twitter timeline today that showed that, like, people 65 plus were like 70% Biden, 30% Bernie, and the inverse, like people under 30 were the inverse. Thanks for the third of a year, Dr. Jazzen. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Scale of 1 to dead, what are we working with here? Yes, on average, over 65 turns out more than under 32. Yeah, the people in that age bracket already have government health care. And they definitely tend to be part of the screw you, I got mine generation. No, that's one of the raid heroes. Yours Revenge, I think it's the Paladin. Alright, so they played the egg at the end there, which kind of tells us that they're the what's it called deck? The dance deck. The Cavalier's kind of telling that they're the dance deck too. I think I'm trimming Domri here. He ended up being some okay points of damage there, but I think in general he's probably not good. Moss Viper doesn't do a whole lot either, right? Maybe leave a couple Domris in. What do we think of this board plan? Do I want Stroke here? I'm not sure that I do. Feel like that's probably too much interaction, not enough beatdown. Yeah, I mean, the American, I believe it was the CDC wanted to recommend that the elderly and people with immune deficiencies stop flying, but the Trump administration wouldn't let them say that publicly. So long as the pop-up comes up, Niv. And the pop-up has the name of the person that installed it now, so I probably asked you for that when you click through it, I assume. Must get it somehow. Is this keepable because of Brazen Borrower? I feel like it might be. I don't know, the fact that it doesn't have 2 blue gives me pause, because, like, the hand needs to draw a land for Borrower, but, like, it also kind of needs to draw spells. The fact that it needs a 5th land anyways with Sarkhan could mean it's keepable. I'm gonna keep this. I wouldn't fault someone for throwing this back, but I think this is close. I think this is, like, solidly in hand sucks keep territory. Perfect. Everything worked out, chat. Not a guaranteed W, but hopefully they drop a 3-mana planeswalker that we can spell pierce next turn. Whew. You love to see it, chat. You love to see it. I don't want to just play Bonecrusher because if they have Oathakaya, it gives them a clean target for it. He says before his opponent plays Oathakaya. Now they shocked in, so we might see a... Really? No dispute back there. That's interesting. Alright, now I'm going to play this. If they want to sweep the board, that's fine. We get to untap and Sarkhan. Actually, we probably just Ceratops, huh? Yeah, let's do this. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Charge. I guess I'm holding on to this to discard the Doom Foretold here. They're getting Teferi back this turn. They sack Oath, they get back Teferi. I don't know, they're in a pretty good spot. The fact that they had Conqueror's Death and not a Teferi makes the fact that I didn't play Sarkhan and I played the Ceratops pretty awkward for me. Definitely did not work out ideally. Like, now my dispute's turned off, too. We're pretty far behind at this point. I don't know. Elspeth bringing back Teferi makes playing Sarkhan less appealing from that perspective, though. I didn't care about what the auto-tapper did because Teferi was coming back into play, so it just didn't matter. Holding up blue is meaningless. This was the only card there been. It's cute though that you think in 2020 we can respond to things the opponent's doing. I like the optimism. We're pretty close to packing it in here.
This might be a bad idea.
All right, onward, upwards, backwards, forward. All right, they're boarding it. They have Archon in their deck. I'm gonna leave these Domris in. I'm trim these cleaves. Let's do this. Sure, let's do it. In, right? I don't have a 2-drop anyways. I think I'm bottoming that. I just want to try and hit 3, 4, 5 consistently here. All the hasty beats belong to us. Okay, I mean, all these things are getting hits in before they die, at least, right? Is it worth it giving a 1/1 counter to player on Oath? I don't think so, because I think they're pretty likely to have non-Oath removal as well, so, like, if I'd given it a counter there, I just wouldn't have gotten any damage in. And, like, especially because I'm going to be playing Sarkhan later, too, so, like, if they have Oath and I don't give them an Oath target on 3, Oath of Kaya will kill my Sarkhan on 5, potentially. And I'd like this to not die to Oath. Feel the burn, twin. You love to see it. So, no time for counters, only for Smork. Yeah, our creatures are basically burn spells. It's a good way to look at it. Big agree. Alright, I think I'm supposed to redeploy Questerson here, just because I really don't want to give them the opportunity to have an instant speed sweeper on my turn. Alright, so Sarkhan. Down tick. Sure. What's weird, I worked as a school teacher and some schools in my city have been closed due to Corona. At my school, 12th graders are freed from school for 2 days now. They should just... Yeah. It'll be interesting to see who responds how. In the state of Illinois, I believe the governor declared an emergency. Once we had, I think they have we've had 4 cases in the state now. They had a person that was confirmed with it that took a train from Chicago down to St. Louis that stopped off in Bloomington where I live. Yeah, none of the schools here have closed at all. Guess who's dead to Shifty? Bye, Felicia. Beep, beep. Do. crunch. In PA, there was a doctor at a children's hospital who exposed a ton of people, and there were schools closing in Southeast PA due to it. Yep. Let's play one more with this. It's been all right. I think once we see tests become a little bit more widely available in areas where there's been a couple of cases, we'll probably see more things close when people realize how much it's spread. Yeah, this deck has a similar feel to Temur Oko, which is like, it's like Temur Planeswalker stuff, right? There's a lot of similarities there. No Grazer, a little bit bigger overall, more adventure creatures. Princeton is going all virtual classes after spring break. Yeah, that's smart. I kind of hope the university where I live does the same. Because, like, all those students traveling home and then traveling back here. Is gonna I'm sure they're traveling to places all over the country. They'll transmit a lot of crap. I think I'm just playing Tectonic Giant. Correct, Lord. I'm really kind of surprised we haven't seen any of the larger Magic tournaments say that they're doing anything. I have no idea. Stalin. I would love an untapped land, thanks. So I'm going to lead on Domri here. Well, plus Domri for mana, and then I'm going to Brazen Borrower, bounce this Reclamation. Get a little tempo going here. That's very smart, Black Rabbit. Like, Magic tournaments aren't known for being bastions of cleanliness during the best of times. It is in most places almost assuredly by now. I think if Tectonic Giant gets to attack here, I'm just going to dome them for 3. You guys want to end this game? Italy suspended mortgage payments. That's interesting. Do I want to plus this for red and then Bonecrusher stomp them? I think that's the play. I mean, to be fair, even our economy was like, in the United States, was due to see a downtick, right? Like, we were in a period of, like, unprecedented growth for over a duration of time that had been partially propped up by the Fed dropping rates, from my understanding. So, like, it was bound to downtick at some point. C-Void 19 just, like, was the instigator of what was probably coming eventually regardless. I mean, Ceratops is very good. We played 4-color Enigmatic yesterday, and we played main deck, what's it called in there? Main deck Ceratops. Like, okay, you bounced it. Take 3. Santa Clara County banned gatherings greater than 1,000 people. I couldn't believe that the San Francisco Marathon happened. That was very surprising to me. That didn't get canceled. That's a big travel event too, from my understanding. Dispute and Disdainful Stroke sound good here. Shifting Ceratops sounds great. I think I trim Embercleave, because I want my threats to just be a little bit more individually powerful. Moss Viper doesn't really accomplish anything here. They don't have things we're attacking into. Mamond, thank you for the interior support. Let's get a sword to go with your shield. I thought it was, what was this past weekend, Bob? I thought there was some kind of marathon on the West Coast this past weekend. Yeah, I agree, Lord. If there's one thing I could say to pass Jeff, it would be put your chat in sub-only mode a little sooner. Definitely. Let things get too frustrating for too long. I'm gonna trim a Questerson. It's an okay aggressive threat, but I'm like bringing in other top end, and they don't really play Planeswalkers. Yeah, that's why I said, right? LA Marathon? Or did I say a different city? Oh, I did say San Francisco, you're right. Listen, chat, all the California cities are the same when you live in the Midwest. Come on now. Are they really different? They all look the same from the cornfields. California, yeah, California's just one big city from my understanding. There's 0 distinctions. Hey, I'm glad you're enjoying it, Styles. I think I'm keeping that. It's just like a threat. Am I? Nah, I've got plenty of threats. I'm gonna bottom that looking for disruption. They're all hives of scum and liberal values. Oh. Those darn hippies and their coast cities. I'm gonna shock this in, so this way if they don't give us something to stroke this turn, we can flash in Borrower. And then next turn we get to play our 5th land, which allows us to play a 3-drop while still holding up stroke. We do live in a flyover state. As an accurate descriptor. And we have an airport in my town, thank you very much. Which, thinking of the current situation, is probably more of a negative than a positive. Two for one, my Brazen Borrower. Deal. Oh, I guess this gives them extra cards to escape Uro, huh? Hey, it's got 6 entire gates, Bob. I put that on the bottom because I want lands to cast Questing Beast. See? Now I can shock this in and play Questerson and still hold up my Disdainful Stroke. There are a lot of caps here. Quite the melee, you could say. Literal gates like the wooden kind they keep in fields. You have connected the nail to the head. You know, I'm kind of just tired of holding up this stroke, so I'm just going to go ahead and burn it and stop their draw 2 here.
Unknown. My answers lie in the cold truth.
I mean, Wizards forced him to do that, Scap. They finally banned him. That's why he's playing a different game. So we're dead? Maybe. I guess they're at 32. Yeah, we're probably dead. Yeah. Alright. I'll take game 3 on the play, huh? They finally banned Todd Stevens, Brecken Sky. Disabled his accounts, which forced him over to streaming a different game. Good riddance. Hand's a little slow, but we don't have a ton of 2-drops anyways. 3 into 4 into Royal Scions as a follow-up sounds good. I think we're looking for that one. Alright, this will be our last match. We play this one for about 90 minutes. We'll do a little bit of a wrap-up here. We'll roll into some blue-white control. Gotta go fast! Gotta go fast! Boop, boop. Driving in my Gruul, beep, beep. You're getting ready to go vote. I would encourage you to feel the burn. I would encourage you to not vote for the person that was endorsed by Michael Bloomberg. I would encourage you to not vote for Joe. Nothing will fundamentally change Biden. Ketchup Bites, thanks for the quarter of a year. Welcome back. I think I want to redraw that one. Looks like so a police state in New York, it looks like. What? Is that a recent update? Status quo Joe, catchy and accurate. I could be president, chat. Giving catchy nicknames to people you don't like is a job requirement for being president, right? National Guard's been deployed to a suburb in New York. I am not 35. Even if I was, I don't think I'd want to run for president. So like Twitch chat is your VP. I mean, would Twitch chat be more or less qualified than Mike Pence? Like, that could be a real discussion. Herpes of the Soul says I could be VP. Collectively, we are very qualified. I would believe that. There are many doctors, lawyers, and astronauts in my Twitch chat. You all are wonderful. Wait, looking for a rent source?
I will learn what nobody yet knows.
Some of us are all three. Most of you are all three, I assumed. I wonder if they don't have double red, right? I was just saying, what if they're gonna have the deal for to everything next turn? Chiropractor lawyer. It's a good wombo combo. Think I put them to 7 here? Is the plan? Try and beat them down here. Tilt. How about if we stomp on your face? Now the good news is they don't have the ability to scry this turn, so they don't get to filter their card draw here at all. So I'm checking out a few of their options, see where they have to go. Okay, lot of live draws here. One of your finest hasty boys deck. Not Gruul Smash. Huh. The person that said this deck reminds them of the old Temur deck, I really think you hit the nail on the head. The things that this deck is doing that I enjoyed are definitely very, 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 very similar to that. Yeah, actually, I was going to comment on that too as we're wrapping up here. The original list had 3 Tectonic Giants in it, and I trimmed a couple of them for Paradise Druid, and Paradise Druid was excellent in these games. I don't think I would cut these. I think you want a little bit of ramp and a little bit of fixing in a deck like this, but I kind of wouldn't mind seeing more Tectonic Giants. I feel like cutting all of these, perhaps this is some of the other things, was a mistake. Like maybe we trim Embercleave and a Domri and like go back to 3 Giants just to like give them a try. I wish I had played more of them to get a better feel for them, but it was very reasonable there. And the fact that both Bonecrusher and Tectonic Giant hit the opponent for damage when they target them with removal spells lets you be very aggressive. For people that came in late, the idea behind Moss Viper was that Death Touch creatures are very good with First Strike and Trample. So the way it works is when they block your First Strike, Trample, Death Touch creature, you kill their thing with First Strike, Death Touch before it can hit your creature, and every damage past the first tramples over. So not only does Royal Scions push damage with Moss Viper, but Embercleave pushes a lot of damage with Moss Viper. And Moss Viper is also okay at blocking in combat and fights with Domri. Death Touch applies, which is nice. Yeah, Domri's Ambush could potentially be okay. I could see that if you wanted some removal. It's also good with Moss Viper and Death Touch. I could see that being fine. So overall, I had pretty low expectations going into this one, and I feel like it thoroughly exceeded them. I think the mix of threats that it's playing is pretty good. I think Questing Beast is pretty reasonable right now. Like, there's a lot of Cat Oven decks running around, and there's Cat Oven decks, and there's the various blue-white control decks this card's very good against. Shifting Ceratops was an all-star at multiple points. I think as far as the sideboard goes, I think Flame Sweep's a card I'm not super interested in. I think most of the key cards you want to kill out of the mono-red deck don't die to Flame Sweep. I think I'd want a couple of red caps in here. Having more ways to kill Mayhem Devil in the Oven matchup seemed like it was important. And perhaps Return to Nature is a card worth playing. This is a card that's good in the red matchup. It kills Cleave, but it's also really good against the cat decks as well. Yeah, Theros was an incredibly sweet set for Standard specifically. Like, I feel like there were a ton of decks in Theros. There were a ton of cards in Theros that was just like, well, I didn't have big expectations for this, and then like when we played the actual game with it, it ended up doing really well. Yeah, Return to Nature kills Annex, it kills enchantments too. So this kills Sword and it kills Annex, so I think this card's very reasonable to bring against mono red. So I think overall, if I were to play this Temur deck again, I'd try something close to this. Just some small adjustments in the sideboard, and then getting a couple more Tectonic Giants into the main to try and get a better feel for whether or not that's good. All right, at any rate, I'm going to hit a quick ad roll while I get my client restarting, everything flipped over for the next deck. When we get back, we are going to play some more blue-white control, which is one of the many fantastic standard decks you can find up on my website right now. So we'll be back in just a few. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Don't go anywhere.